Hi, Panda here. We're going to be chatting about all things Splatoon 2 and how these Inklings made such a great and fantastic game. We're going to have a look back at all the great aspects of Splatoon 2 and what made it special. So let's splat. Splatoon 2 is jam-packed full of different modes. We've got a single player campaign, then we've got the DLC Octo expansion, more single player and a different story. We follow an Octoling. We've got multiplayer PvP in form of the Turf Wars and the other modes. There's PvE mode with Salmon Run and even the hub, and you can explore, and there's some different bonuses and extras about, like the arcade machine. First up, we've got this single player mode. So this has the Squid Sisters in from the original Splatoon. You complete individual levels. It's kind of got like a hub world like you expect from like a Mario Sunshine game or Mario Galaxy, where you kind of go around the hub area. Some collectibles to get in the hub area as well. If you pop certain balloons, you can unlock some extra lore. Otherwise, you go into individual levels. Now these are all like linear levels, but they're quite like actiony, platforming, puzzly style. And then every world hub has a boss fight as well, and these boss fights are really interesting, and you'll probably see some of the gameplay on screen of some of these areas and the boss fights. Single player is like a really good way to like get more lore, to practice and get used to controls and how it plays and the different weapons. But it's also good for doing, if you want to do time attacks, you can see how good your score is on a level. It even tells you what weapon you select for that level, so you can replay the levels with different weapons and see what best time you get for each one. So I like the environments. I love this nice singular linear platform game. I know lots of people like open world, but sometimes I like something that's linear and you've got more of the platforming challenge. Also, like I said, there's hidden collectibles and lore. The music is great. The humor is great. And overall, I think the single player campaign is underappreciated. It may not be the longest, but what there is really good fun. And that's where the Octo expansion comes in. That's more single player. You kind of lose the hub world. You've got like a train, underground train that you're on with some characters to talk to. But the levels in here are similar to the other single player, except for they're a lot more difficult. But you can't use points to pass certain levels if you get too stuck. So I like that accessibility option there. The expansion is included in the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass. Oh, that's a mouthful, isn't it? So you can get it free there, otherwise you can buy it separately. But I feel like if you're really into Splatoon and you want more challenging levels, it's definitely worth picking up. Also in the Octo expansion, you play as an Octoling, and this also gives you a chance to use the Octoling in multiplayer. So it's definitely a different vibe and a story from the main single player game. Multiplayer in Splatoon 2 consists of two different modes. You've got your PvP mode and your PvE. We'll start with the PvP. PvP includes things like Turf War, Rainmaker. So these are different modes. So the one mode has you try and cover as much of the map in your colours team, because multiplayer consists of two teams, and whoever's got the most colour covered wins. So what I like about Splatoon 2 and what it carries on and builds on from Splatoon 1 is this idea of Nintendo making a multiplayer shooter game, but without so much the shooting. You can still like knock out enemies and they turn into ink and they can get respawned, but it also makes you focus on an objective, like trying to cover as much as this map in the ink, which is different and probably not seen in any other game really. It's kind of unique to Splatoon, and that's one of the things that's great about it. There are some other modes where you like have to capture a point and the point moves around, or you capture an object, the Rainmaker, and deliver it to the opponent's base, a bit like capture the flag. But these modes still require you to splat as much as the environment, because when you've splattered the environment with ink, you can travel faster in a squid mode. And that's another unique aspect about Splatoon series, is that the fact you can turn into a squid at any time. We also use the ink on the floor to reload your weapons. Now, talking of weapons, this is where Splatoon and Splatoon 2 gets really interesting, is the wide range of weapons. You go from everything from snipers to like dual pistol equivalents. Obviously these aren't weapons to shoot guns, they all shoot the ink. There's like a bucket that throws loads, or you can have like a paintbrush, and you can like a roller paintbrush or a narrow paintbrush, and these are quite good for like close-up combat. But like your snipers are better for like long distance, or you want a straight line of things. So you really just make you play with the strategies here. And there's loads of different special weapons as well. One makes you go like in a Zorb ball and you can roll around and explode. Another gives you like ink jetpacks, so you're higher in the air and you've got better range. Or lock-on missiles. There's so many. I could go on forever just naming them. So this leads to multiple playstyles. There's also a progression system. You kind of get points if you win, or lose points you don't, and you get like a ranking, which helps you play from the standard mode to the rank mode. So what is also great is the wide range of maps. The maps in Splatoon 2 are definitely diverse. Some have dangers in your environment, like there's grates, but you could, if you go through the grate, if you turn into squid mode, you'll fall down the grate and end up maybe falling in the water. The various locations, the fun, the interesting, there's usually something going on in the level, so you have to keep an eye on. But the downside to this is that in each of the modes, if you're doing standard match or ranked match, there's only 2 maps at a time that rotate about every 2 hours, and you get different 2 maps. I don't know why Nintendo's decided to do this. It's the only thing I probably don't like about Splatoon 2, and my only negative, is you're kind of stuck playing the same 2 maps over and over again until the time runs out and they rotate them, which is about 2 hours. I don't know, I would rather just have all the maps are there at random. So that's the one downside. Otherwise, the multiplayer is great fun, and it makes great use of your clothes you wear and the weapons you choose, because all your clothes have got different special abilities, a bit like your weapons as well. And I feel like you can really get into it. Plus, your progression will and your rank will carry over to Splatoon 3. Now, the other multiplayer mode in Splatoon 2 is Salmon Run, which is a PvE mode. It's basically a 4-player co-op mode where the enemy salmon race of different vehicles or equipment or types all come and try and invade you while you're on this little, I like to describe it as like a small oil rig. When you destroy the really big bosses, you get eggs, and you've got to deposit the eggs in a basket. Now, this mode's great for the fact that A, it's co-op, it's player versus environment. Also, you get a random weapon each wave, which is both good and bad. You can't really go in with a pre-made loadout in this mode, but it does keep you on your toes. Recently when it came out, it was only available at certain times of day. Now, I don't know if that's still the case, because every time I go and log on and play, it just happens to be available. So I'm not sure if that's still the case. There's some interesting enemies. It's not too long or too short. I think the really only downside here is the lack of environments. It's always the same environment, but you do get a different layout to the map. Also, each wave, the water gets higher and higher, making it a smaller area and more intense. And the enemies do vary each time you do play, so you're not always going to have the same. Wave 1 isn't going to always be the same enemies. I think this adds to the feel of the game. It has its own ranking system as well, so if you just want to rank up in PvE in the Salmon Run, you can. And I think this is a great option, and I'm looking forward to seeing how much Splatoon 3 improves on Salmon Run, which they have confirmed is coming to Splatoon 3. Just a few other things to mention looking back at Splatoon 2 as a whole. I like how it's got the interesting plaza that you can walk around. There's some different things there, like the arcade machine we could do a dance game on. There's a vendor who sells special items to help you get you more experience or reward points. It's just got a nice vibe. Also, when there's a Splatfest on, which are these special tournaments they hold occasionally, where you choose, like, do you prefer Transformers to Teenage Mutant Turtles, or mustard to ketchup, and you kind of have to choose which side you're on. You do some battles, and at the end of the weekend it says who's won. But at the same time, the lobby isn't so like this party festival mode, and there's usually a performance on by Off the Hook in Splatoon 2. Originally it was Squid Sisters in the first game, so you get some cool music. I like how this world of Splatoon 2 has evolved as well, that Off the Hook, Pearl and Marina actually perform in real life as well, so that's quite interesting. Also, you can use your Splatoon amiibos to save a loadout and have extra challenges unlocked, and there's a cool amiibo box in the environment that you can go up to. Pearl and Marina, like I mentioned before, they're really cool. They're a good music duo. The only downside is every time you load the game, Pearl and Marina give a little chat, which is nice and entertaining, but they always tell you what maps are in the ranked and the standard mode, and this can go on and you can't skip, and you have to watch it every time you load up, even if you just want to come on for a couple of matches, and it just gets a bit long in the tooth after the 5th time you've seen it. So there you go, that was our look back at Splatoon 2. I highly recommend picking it up, and we're really looking forward to Splatoon 3. There's so many good things in Splatoon 2, and it looks like they're expanding even more into Splatoon 3. So, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and thank you to our patrons and Twitch subscribers and everyone else who's donated. You can find out how to support the Arctic Panda Popz channel in the links below. So, don't get cooked, stay off the hook. See you next time, bye!